Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Jump. Come on, you can do it. You've heard that, you've said that. You put one of your children or a child up on the highest level and said, hey, jump. You can trust me, jump. And what do? They jump. They trust you. But let me ask you a question. Would you even ask them to jump if you didn't have trust in yourself? What is the role that self-trust takes in your daily relationships, in your leadership, whether it's in your business, with your family, with your friends and colleagues? What role does self-trust play? And I'm here to tell you it plays the center area. If you don't have self-trust, then you'll look at people differently. You'll have a harder time trusting others. As you have a harder trusting others, they're going to have a harder time trusting you. And everything breaks down. Look what's going on in our society right now. There's an absence of trust. So if we're going to rebuild trust, then it has to start with us. It has to start with us. You know, what's the opposite of starting with self? What's the opposite of starting with ourself? Starting with ourself is to get our self-trust is based upon principles of responsibility, credibility. The opposite is to wait for others to change or take responsibility. We have it upon ourselves to do that. You see, self-trust affects not only our worthiness to be trusted, it also affects the way we see and interact with others. It reciprocates with others, how they interact with us. Think of the difference it would make if we had the confidence that we could trust ourselves, always, in all situations. If we knew we could keep promises to ourselves and to others, how powerful would that be? Every time you break a promise, whether it's to yourself or to others, it's a withdrawal from your character. And character is strengthened through honoring your promises and commitments to yourself and others. I think of John Wooden, Coach John Wooden, in 1948. You know how he got his job with UCLA? He really wanted a job with Minnesota. That's in Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's in the Midwest. It's close to home. And that's what he was hoping for. So he promised them if they would call and make their offer at 6 o'clock, he would take their offer. But he also promised UCLA that he would take their offer if they called at 7 o'clock. So in other words, if he would, and he hadn't taken another offer. So he was expecting Minnesota to call at 6, UCLA at 7. Well, there was, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, then there was a storm that wiped out all of the phones, no phone service. So he sat there waiting for the call. It never came, and at 7 o'clock, here comes the call from UCLA, and he accepted it. Well, just a few minutes later, guess what? The call came from Minnesota. There's a little bit more money, better offer, where he wanted to be, but he had already made a commitment. And that's when he knows his commitment to himself is the highest level. And he told him no. He went out to a place that didn't even have a decent basketball arena. And 27 years later, he's known as one of the best coaches that there has ever been. But he had self-trust. And when he had self-trust, he was able to push. Others had trust in him, and he was able to give trust to others. So in the book, Smart Trust by Stephen M. R. Covey and Greg Link, they give us, it's a great book. It's a great read, by the way. It's so full, chock full of hints. But they talk about this thing called MKR. They don't call it MKR. They just say make, keep, and repeat. I remember it by MKR. So start where you are and make and keep one small commitment to yourself. Practice. Then another, and repeat the process until you've developed the ability to make and keep larger commitments to yourself on a regular basis. See, there's nothing you can do more quickly to build personal reputation and self-trust than to practice. Practice on yourself. And when people have a healthy degree of self-trust, they are far more likely to extend trust to others. They also have more confidence in their own abilities. And to be clear, self-trust is not ego, arrogance, or unwanted bravado. It's a quiet inner confidence that reflects your awareness of what's of the most important kind of prosperity you'll ever have. It's a high balance of your own personal trust account. And whatever your current balance or balance of your team or organization, or the good news is, you can increase it significantly by making regular deposits. And you do that through behaviors that both develop and demonstrate character and competence. Keep in mind, actions and behaviors are things we can choose to improve, choose to change. I'm going to start right now. MKR, make, keep, and repeat. And I'm going to choose, I've got a zillion small things that I can focus in on that I feel like I keep breaking over and over again to myself. How about you? Shall we do it together? Pick one thing right now, one small thing, one small commitment that you can make to yourself and honor it. Make it, keep it, repeat it. Let's do it. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to talking to you next week. Make life meaningful.